guys. Well, I did something kind of dumb the other night when I was, well, the other day when I was trying to get the trans in to get this car moved. I was so worried about getting the trans in, I wasn't thinking, and I bumped the trans. So I went to put the torque converter bolts in, which isn't done, and yeah, I kind of noticed that it's not lined up, so it is pushing against right here. So I'm gonna have to unbolt the trans, seat it properly on the studs, and then put it back in. So that's a big misstep in my part, but definitely my fault. Wasn't paying attention when I put it in. I was doing it on my backside over there, so definitely should have been paying more attention. That's kind of a setback, but luckily it won't be that hard to back up the bolts. And I'm gonna try first to back up the bolts, slide it back a little bit, and hopefully be able to adjust it. Right now, I can spin the motor whichever way I want. I cannot get it to budge freely from the flywheel to be able to torque it properly to where it's supposed to be for the studs to come through and put the nuts on. So that's an oversight on my part, but it is what it is. We have the fuel lines. I'm not a huge fan of this, but that's kind of how it's going to be. Line coming in and line going to the regulator and go back to the tank. So that way I have a return, keep that fuel nice and clean and happy. And then also pressure gauge, so we can keep an eye on the pressure when we're getting started on the cranking and everything. So for now, this is kind of how I have it set up. It's about as clean as it's going to get unless I get actually like hard lines or steel lines made. For now, I'm okay with it. It's pretty clean still, regardless how the lines are ran, but nice and keep them nice away from that header. So these little dividers are nice. Keep everything nice and kind of away. Keep it from rocking, rubbing a hole in something. So we still gotta put the wires on. I keep putting that off just because it's going to take a good bit of time. I'm not very good at it. I hadn't done it in a while, so I just want to take my time and make sure it's done right the first time so I don't have any misfires or anything. So fuel lines are ran to the bottom of the frame right there, and then we'll do steel lines back to close to the tank. I'm not a huge fan of running rubber all the way out, but that is what we're going to do for now. So all right, we're finally getting the back seat removed and picked up and cleaned up in here. You can see the carnage of the floor and how bad this one patch area is. Over there needs a small patch. It's savable, I believe. I'm going to grind into it and see. But obviously over here is toast. That'll need a patch. Up here, there's only one small little area, and it's right there that I can find. The seat was a rat's nest. Just toast. I mean, there's nothing left of the inside of the seat. I'm surprised the leather held up on the outside as good as it did, given that. But yeah, it should smell a little bit better now. We evicted all that crap. And this is some cool stuff that I found inside the seat. Looks to be a probably a 71 through later model. Let's see if I can get it to zoom so you can see. But an old car, little kid's car. Spout for the old tin cans, and a 24 gauge shell. And let's see if I can tell what that is. That looks like a little 22 bullet. But yeah, all that was found underneath the back seat in Roachville, Ratville, USA. But yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about with the seat. And I'm probably going to have to find another seat as well. But yeah, there's nothing left of this. It is rusted in half right there. Luckily, I'm not really going to be using the back seat. I will when I put my kid's seat in there, but for the meantime, for power tour, it's going to be able to run as is. I'm going to probably leave the seat folded down anyway, just for airflow purposes. We have the floor pan hopefully coming tomorrow that I can figure out what I like and don't like about it going in here. We'll get this plumbed up after I drill holes. I'm gonna see where the floor line's up first before I go cutting into stuff, making more work for myself. Lots of tedious little things left to do, but we're working through them slowly but surely. This is probably just gonna get a cheap patch for now. Probably just a flat piece of metal screwed in for now until I get back. As I said, just not gonna have time, so probably just gonna cut the corner right there for now. Just get it good and sealed up so I'm free from the rain and the fumes. But other than that, gonna keep on trucking. All right, so this is the rear trunk pan. As you can see, it looks like it's actually pretty good fit. So this is a 68 Galaxy 500 rear trunk pan. It was described as a one-piece rear trunk pan. However, as you can see, we have this one panel. These are the sides, so it's clearly not one piece and shipped as one piece, which I was hoping for, so I could modify the sides to work with this, but that's okay. As you can see, there's a pretty large gap between on the sides. That was my knee in the trailer hitch. That hurt, but that's all right. All right, so there's a pretty good gap. So I think what I'm planning to do is I'm going to look up underneath it. Obviously, it's going to get cut out for the fuel cell. So most of this will get cut out. I'm going to cheat it that way a little bit. And we're going to roll these sides inboard and try to flush mount it best we can. And then we'll take this section that we're going to cut out and move it backwards to fill this section in back here. We're gonna move that backwards, and then we'll take this other panel and finish the back end with that. And then that leaves me with this panel left over, which might be just enough panel to fix a good bit of this, or at least cover it up for now. So that's my plan. We'll see if it'll work. But yeah, let's get to it. All right, as you can see, the Galaxy 500 is not the same just due to how the sides come in. I've got this panel off now, so obviously it doesn't go over. That piece doesn't come over, but we also just thought about it. We can use that patch probably for down there in that lower spot that was rusted out, so that's good. The good thing about shipping large stuff is you end up with large boxes, and boxes are pretty easy to bend and put in spots. And yeah, I have a rack, so we're gonna raise this thing up. I'm gonna make my templates out with all my measurements, and then we will transfer over to the now flattened. I left these edges curved so I could get it in there, but yeah, we'll flatten the rest of that backside down, and then we're gonna cut off the excess of what we don't need. We're gonna transfer over our template from our cardboard, so it makes it easy. We don't have to guess. I don't have to essentially have anything on that metal. I can just use templates off of it, and we can use the stamped steel and make it easy. I know a lot of people would have said, just why didn't you buy a piece of sheet metal? I actually wasn't sure if this was going to work, and then well, I just started cutting the edges out over here, and then now I own it. So it was reasonably cheap enough. I think stamped steel for the biggest piece I needed. Would have had to buy a whole sheet, would have been the same cost. So I don't need a full sheet, so nor do I have anywhere to put it. So this has got the shape I want, and it also has the ridges and everything like it did from the factory to an extent. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to raise this thing up in the air, get some templates made, get some measurements made, and hopefully get this metal put in, and then get this lovely fuel cell back in, which is sitting outside right now. Yep, we're gonna keep getting some work done. As you can see from the bottom side, minus this feathering right here, there's a little gap, but we have a pretty good template of where the floor pan needs to lie. It's sitting flush up here, so we can essentially knock out where this tank's gonna go, and then work our way one side and the other till it's all nice and done. So that's what we're going to do, and transfer the template over. Should make it nice and easy, and then we'll weld it all up and see what it looks like. All right, it's pretty late. I've had to go super slow this so I don't warp it or actually burn through the old metal. As you can see, there's a few holes that I found when digging in there. Got to finish the corners up and weld that up, but she's definitely coming along. I was going to keep trying to nail down that corner, but welder had other plans, ran out of wire. Of course, I don't have any more, so gonna have to get some more tomorrow on my lunch break probably and try to finish this up another night this week. But she's definitely getting there. Getting a little too much heat in it, so I need to slow down just a little bit. We'll get all this cleaned up later on, sealed up, and then get the tank in, get everything wired up, and she'll be on her way soon, hopefully. Well, as y'all know, I've been looking for different wheels. The wheels I had on there had spacers, and I'm not a huge fan of running spacers. It was just more so to move the car around. I've been looking for a little while, hadn't really found anything I liked, and then today, while I was eating lunch, I found something. So, took off a little early from work, and we went and picked some up. Check them out. So as luck would have it, these are brand new wheels and tires, never even mounted. They don't even have lug nuts put on them yet. The people that bought them for their Mustang ended up staying with the steels and hubcaps, and they've been just sitting for a couple months. So these are brand new, never mounted, and I think they're going to look pretty killer on the Wagon. If not, we will probably trade them later on, but for now, I think they're going to work, and I think I'm going to like them. So I'm going to put them on and see what they look like, and give me just a second. So as you can see, later on, we do not have the correct lug nuts, so we can't fully mount them up. We may have to go with a little bit taller tire in the rear, but I'm pretty happy with it right now. I don't think it's going to rub anywhere. Looks like it's going to work out, so super stoked. I can't sit on the ground and show y'all right now, but I will make sure to cover that in another video, just because I have some of the suspension and some of the other pieces off. I'm not sure why that just happened, but that just happened. Anyways, the front, I have the suspension turned because I have the idler arm loose, so I can access the starter, and that's when I found out the transmission was having issues, so I haven't changed it. So anyway, 215 70-15s on the front. So that should work perfectly for the front. And it may work perfectly for the rear. We may want to go with a little bit taller tire in the rear and just do a little bit of an offset. I like the look of it. It's kind of what I was after. Nice and clean, but also kind of classic. So I know Cooper Copers, all the old heads love those. There's better tires out there, but for what I just paid for these, I'm perfectly okay with it. It also clears the disc brake setup, so that's beautiful. That's what I was worried about, running a 15. We may trade these later, I don't know, but for now, super stoked, happy with them. Hope y'all like them. May go with something a little bit more modern later, but for now, these will do, especially for power tour. Plenty of meat on them. Love it. Let me know what y'all think. Probably the last update of the evening. I just got it on a roll with getting the back floor done, so let's take a look. I'm kind of proud of the progress. Definitely got to tidy up a few welds and some stuff to get it sit flush, but let's check it out. All right, this took me a long time just due to trying to not warp the floor. As you can see, we have a floor in here now. You can't tell that it's a cut up patch really by the other than the welds going crossways over here, but we'll fix all that and clean it up. We're going to seam seal it anyway. There's one little spot over here. I'm going to fix in the stitching right there. And then I got in here when I was doing this and kept finding more thin rust. So this whole wall actually is going to need repair, but we're going to deal with that at some point. We'll use some of these patches that we got to try to mimic that line right there. I'm not terribly worried about that right now. Obviously you can kind of see my vision now that it's actually in, the floor's in. We'll get this all cleaned up like I said. Still gotta cut a hole for the filler net to go in right here, and then we have another plate pass through that'll go through right here for the fuel lines and wiring and such to pass through from the wall over there, then run along the length of the car to the engine bay. So definitely proud of the progress. Just took a long time to get this floor in tonight. Still obviously got to finish up over here, but definitely coming a long way, and I should have enough patch metal to fix this over here, the spare tire well, essentially. I should have enough metal to fix that as well. So that's a win, because I was wanting to hold on to a spare to put back there. But yeah, she's definitely coming a long way. We got to bolt the gas tank in, obviously. It's going to come back out one more time. I just stuck it in here just now to get it kind of a fit. We got to trim a little bit more of the metal back. I kind of left a little tail just so I could play with it and see where it was sloped. Right here, I left this down so I can fix that. You cannot really see the angle. Yeah, you can right there. I left that down. We can hammer that back flush. I want to be able to get in there and work. And we'll probably also put some drain holes somewhere toward the low point of the floor where the fuel cell is. So she's definitely coming along. We're definitely making progress. It's going to be cutting it close to Hot Rod Power Tour, but we're going to try to make it with this car best I can. So stay tuned.